would be the toughest or scariest with these AWA sort of stalwarts as maybe Mad Dog Vachon, Larry Hennig, Blackjack Mulligan, or Billy Robinson? Who would you fancy to be come out on top in that battle?
Well, Billy's got the reputation, man. There's a funny story about that. They were in all Winnipeg. Larry Hennig, Bill Watts, Harley Race, bunch of guys, anybody in their right mind would never, and then there's little Mad Dog over in the corner. He's probably the worst one of all of them. And some one of the tough guys from Winnipeg came up and decided, Larry Hennig and Watts and those guys were pretty formidable, So he decided to pick on the dog, which was probably the biggest mistake he'd made. The other guys would probably just knock him out. The last thing, and these are just stories I've heard. The last thing they're pulling the dog out, he's got forks and everything. He's stabbing the guy with forks and biting him in the ears, and he was a mad dog. Scientifically, Billy. But it's the wrestling world's funny. Tough guys, it's not the MMA or something, but everybody's got their day. Everybody's got their time. Somebody can be the toughest, but and they can just catch you. Robinson was famed for his wrestling skills and his shooting abilities. Larry Hennig was a big man, big powerful man. So. Yeah, who else did you mention?
Blackjack Mulligan.
Oh, there's another guy. I remember Curtis used to say, who's the guy that used to hold them by the ankles and stomp their head in? And Blackjack. Yeah, that's it. So none of them were flower dancers or anything.
So sticking with Mad Dog then, was he just, because I've heard the story where Mad Dog sort of loses his mind on an airplane and tries to rip the airplane door off mid-flight.
Oh, they were drinking. He'd always bust Adonis and Vern would get him, Vern, Adrian, he get me all fucked up. I cannot help, and they'd be the puppy dog. And the heat would always go on Adrian. Adrian would always catch all the heat for that. So yeah, but he was the dog was, after he retired, he lost his leg. He lost a leg running. He moved to Lincoln or Omaha, Nebraska, somewhere in Nebraska. And he would go out and run. Definitely. Well, you're familiar. Definitely cold there. So one day a car skidded on the ice. He lost. So after he would come to Hawaii every winter with his wife. They'd stay at the Circle and he'd go down with King Curtis had a beach stand, and it's on the wall at Waikiki. Curtis used to call it the Wailing Wall. And the dog had a cooking show in Montreal that went nationwide in Canada. The dog, you make this, and then you make that. So people, Canadians, during that time of year, all the multitude of Canadians visiting Hawaii. So the wall is right by the zoo and on the way up to Diamond Head and other scenic tourist spots. So they'd pass by and they'd see Maurice. I was, Maurice Vachon, how you, Mad Dog? And the Canadians, bonjour, mon ami. Just make the baby sitting there with one leg on the wall, getting tan. And the dog was a cool dude. He was a cool cat, man.
This is actually sort of following on this. Actually, the next thing I've said, the craziest bar fight or fight you ever were involved in or just saw.
New Zealand one time, me and Lewin got attacked by a bunch of guys down in one of those pubs there. We used to stay in the one night I'd be in the Intercontinental Hotel in Melbourne, 5-star hotel. The next night I'd be in the embassy in Christchurch, New Zealand. And that was like that would take me the old cowboy westerns with the doors and the doors. That place was that place was really something. And Curtis and Lewin, they used to run a great territory. It wasn't the biggest money area, but we made good money and be able to sit. But they'd always made sure try and keep the boys happy all the time. And they'd work back and forth. Where Mark was the heel, and Curtis was always the baby face. And The guys would have their, whatever they needed to get by, and they'd know what's going on in guys' lives, and try and soothe everything out and make life livable while you're on the road with them. So